Welcome to MinkLife Motivation Live. I'm Monica Henderson, and I want to know, are you paying for services and you're not really getting what you want as a result? Well, today we're going to maximize your business by executing the vision. Let's get started. Yay! All right. You see all these amazing people on with me. They are on the show with me today. So we have Kris, who is she is an amazing coach who focuses on, this is me stalling so that I can grab what but she focuses on leadership and therapist, right? And then we have Angeline, who's the archangel of business. And they are both our co-hosts as they are members of the MinkLife community. And to help me kind of, break in Quentin, who is our special guest for the day. Quentin is here really late at night from the UK, Edinburgh, I believe. And he is a change coach. So Quentin, really quickly, if you could just share a little bit about how having your own vision, as our topic is for today, how is having your own vision helped you in your own business?
Sure. And thanks for inviting me to start off with. The number one benefit of having vision is essentially giving a direction. It's a bit similar to having a goal. A roadmap is really to have the sense of having a target that you're aiming for. And that getting that direction will then sort of trickle down in terms of everything you do. From the vision, you can then create milestones, and from these milestones, different goals to actually get you to that vision. And so that will define, from your vision, you will then get what strategy you're going to have, who you're going to talk to, creating your brand from that, defining your target audience, what your content is going to be about if you write content. The list goes on and on. So it's really just having that clear direction will then keep you going in the moments that are tough and giving you that sense of purpose. So I guess, in a summary, these would be the main 3 points.
Yes, love that. So how has that really affected you personally with building your business and your entrepreneurial journey?
Well, not to just repeat what I said now, it really is about knowing where I'm going. So getting the ideas that I need and knowing who I'm talking to, but also starting a business. And then anyone who starts a business will know this. It's hard. It is really hard for me. It's on a professional standards. It was the biggest challenge that I've ever had. And so knowing where you're going and knowing why you're doing it will then be able to make you keep going on the days that are tough, because there will be tough days and there will be moments in which you'll feel down and you'll fail more than once. Actually, I think since starting a business, I've never failed as many times as something in my life. But it keeps you going. It keeps you going through that trial and error, which is inevitable.
Yeah, Kris, I know you are passionate about this particular topic too. So do you want to kind of chime in a little bit on Quentin's entrepreneurial journey and his failure?
His failure.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, and that failure really isn't failure, right? It's just finding something that didn't work and saying, okay, well, it's kind of like Edison. They said, how many 999 things that didn't work to make the light bulb? Okay, get back up, go back after it, and just keep focusing on that, the vision, or I call it the desired outcome. What are you going after? And helping that gives you a sense of purpose. It's just a powerful resilience tool, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Angeline, what about you? Do you have any thoughts on Quentin's journey and kind of seeing this, having the vision and also the failures that come along with the having said vision?
Yes. For me, it sounds very familiar. coming from corporate life and deciding to now come out on my own and start my own business. So yes, the failure. So if I look on it, and as Quentin was speaking, I thought about, because your vision is a destination, a lofty goal, and so I think of it that I'm on this road to this destination that is really amazing, and uh, I may have a flat tire along the way. Does that I What do? I find a way to fix that tire and move on, because I am going towards that dream of where I'm going. So I mean, I may make it sound really nice, because when things are not going so well, you really want to sometimes just say, what is this about? But if you think about, you're on the road already, you know where you're going, it's something that you're passionate about, then you're going to find a way, you're going to flag down somebody if you're on a lonely road to help you to fix that. And so that's how, I think about it as Quentin was speaking. We're going to get there, and I'm passionate about getting there. So the failures are not going to stop you.
No, not at all. What's funny is, everyone in our community knows, I talk about it all the time, that I love rude remarks, right? I'll say questions, comments, rude remarks, and I love failure, and I love all of the things that most people are like running from. And the reason why is because it's the cheat codes to life, right? If you can fast track your growth, why wouldn't you? And the best way to fast track your growth is by failing, and failing often, and failing fast, and failing loudly and publicly. And so right before we came on, we were having a conversation about the Angeline being called an archangel. and, and it was like really funny, because she was like, well, I don't know, I'm playing with this idea of a business angel, this, that, or the other. And I was like, ooh, business archangel. And she was like, I don't know that's a bit, I don't know. And I was like, let's try it. And the next thing you know, I popped it on a graphic, and I was like, here you go. And she's like, oh my gosh, I don't know. But that entire thing, hey, Colleen, the entire thing about all of this is, if we don't experiment, if you don't come at your business with like a scientific brain, which is have an hypothesis, test the hypothesis, and then assess, then you'll never actually get there. And a lot of the times when we have these visions of what we want, we think that like once we create the vision, then it just is. And that failure playground is really kind of where it all kinds of comes to life and becomes better than what you even kind of conceptualized it to be in the first place. So yes. Let's keep this party going. Let's go ahead and get motivated and really talk about like, why is having a vision, the clear vision, no less, so important for your business. And we kind of talked about it a little bit with Quentin, but I think let's dive in a little deeper and get people motivated about just taking the time to create said vision. So we're going to since Angeline went last this time, we're going to go right back to you. Why is it so important to have a clear vision?
Yes, so it starts with the why. For me, why do I want to do whatever it is that I'm thinking? And it's then forces you to think inward about your passion, what you're passionate about, what you would love to do if you had no limitations. So it allows you to really think creatively. And it's eventually, I think, and it happens to me and I've heard it from others, there are so many ideas that just keeps coming and allows you to really answer that why. And that why is important because it helps us to be passionate about things. As we said, if there are failures, then we know that we have to get up and go. If we have teams or persons who are supporting us, it's important that they buy into that passion and that vision that we have established. So that vision, while it could be yours, especially if it's a company vision, it's good to have those around you who are supporting you in the success that you're looking for, really bought into that vision because it's a unifying force. So very, very critical to have your vision as something that really drives your why and supports why you're doing this, and have others really sold on it.
Yeah, I see Kris is ready to like jump in at
Hey, I'm trying to be good over here. Come on. Well, and I just want to add to that. I think, yeah, it helps your vision and it helps your passion. But when I work with clients, I talk about the 3 pillars of confidence. You know, how do you be the most confident version of yourself? And that confidence can be, it's not just some abstract thing out there, but knowing who you are, knowing where you want to go, that's the vision part, right? And then knowing what you need to do to get there, but that you need all 3 legs of that stool to be really confident. And so the clearer you can get on that vision, the more confident you're going to be about that vision. And I just think, you know, we can have all the skills in the world, but if we don't have the confidence to go after it, then we don't go after it. But we can build confidence on purpose. We can be intentional. It's not just a fluffy feeling that's going to float down from the sky. We can actually be really intentional about it. And so I think that feeds with what Angeline, you're saying, is it helps feed that passion when you're clear on where you want to go, you know, that it really ties together with passion and confidence to go after it.
Yeah, I had a conversation with my husband just as you were saying that, and we have very different leadership styles. So for me, I like to make sure that all the things are set up just so that when I have to tell someone what to do, all the questions that they might have answered or want to have answered are actually there and in the information that I've given them. My husband, on the other hand, really likes to ask a lot of questions. And he has like a bit more of a well, what do I need to do to help you be successful kind of space. But both of those kind of are exactly what you're saying, where it's like you have to kind of know where you're trying to steer people to in the first place before you can even start asking those questions, or before you give the directives, you have to have a very clear understanding of that. I love that so much. All right, Quentin, you're up. So what do you have to add to this stellar conversation?
So a couple of things. Talking about the passion side of things, that's one thing that's so important to your vision, is to make sure that you connect emotionally with it. And that, whether that is your personal vision or your company vision. And talking about just what Angeline was talking about when it comes to if you have employees, it was 2 days ago, I think it was, I was having the conversation with someone who had been working in a company for just over 10 years. And nowadays let's say before being a coach, I was in tech. And it's very rare to have someone stay that long in a company. And so I asked her, well, what made you stay that long? And she gave 3 points. And the first one was that she bought into the vision of the leadership team, that their vision was so strong, and the fact that she believed in it made her stay in that for that long. So it's the fact that it was the first one out of the 3 reasons that she gave just shows how powerful how powerful it is when you get it right, and you can get your employees to buy in it, because they will then stay the long term and probably give it 110%.
Yeah, that is so true. So true. The vision is sometimes the reason why people leave too. I no longer agree with the vision that they've laid out for this. I gotta go. So that is true on both sides. I love that though, being really having the passion behind the vision. So, my job to keep us on track. Let's help people stay inspired and really kind of help them understand, how does a lack of understanding your vision affect how you move through life in business? Oh, that lack of it all. We'll start with you, Kris.
Well, I just think, there's a saying that without a vision, the people perish, but really that word perish means to wander around aimlessly without direction. And I think, when you don't have a vision where you're going, people are just kind of like, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to channel it. It's the difference between funneling water through a dam, through a restricted space to generate electricity. It's the difference between that and having a swampy wasteland. Do you want to channel power? Do you want to create power? Well, then you need to have that vision. If you don't have the vision, you're just going to kind of have a swampland. and it's just going to be kind of like, yeah, meander, yeah, maybe. And it just doesn't lack the momentum. If you really want to move things forward, you want to have that vision.
Yeah, so true. What about you, Quentin? What is your take on the understanding the lack of vision?
Very similar to what Kris said, but the metaphor that I always use, and that I came up with it where first when to describe how I felt at the time was rudderless. Is like the feeling of being in an ocean on a boat that doesn't have a rudder, so you're just meandering. You don't know where you're going, and it also means that as soon as a big wave comes along, there's a good chance that you're not going to be facing the wave, and you're just going to capsize. So
Mm,
it's the feeling of not knowing where you're going, and as soon as there's the first obstacle that comes in your way, you just don't have the resilience to face it, and you're not, because you might be looking at the wrong things, or it's just that you don't have the tools and the motivation to go to overcome that obstacle.
yeah, I don't know that I've ever heard like a lack of vision being tied to it in such a way. Thank you for that sentiment. That is kind of profound. I'm like, let me sit and ponder that for a second. While I ponder that a little bit more. And Angeline, did you want to kind of add to the conversation?
Sure. So I think it's a lot of what both Kris and Quentin have said, and I've been talking a lot about leaders, business owners who are overwhelmed, who are just trying to do too much. And one of the things that we really focus on is understanding what are the priorities. And when you sit back and look at the destination, where you're going, then you can start filtering out and say, hey, this is not that important. It actually gives you a path, and it helps you to really prioritize your resources towards exactly where you're going. And it makes it easier to define the things that may seem urgent but not that important. And so they can be left to the side so that you can focus on the more important things. So
Yeah.
it's really key to just really keeping your eyes on that prize to filter out noise and distractions.
Yeah, so there's a saying that I got from my spiritual center that I use all the time. It's like you're either being pushed by pain or being pulled by the vision, and I think that kind of
Mhm.
like pulls together all of your thoughts a little bit. Where it's like, if you don't have a clear vision of what you want for your life, then you're only making decisions by the pain points that are presenting themselves, right? It's like, oh well, I don't want to be poor, so let me get a job, or I don't I have this bill I have to pay, so let me just get any client. I need to put something out on social media, so let me just put anything out there. I need to, and it feels like reeks of kind of desperation
Mhm.
kind of energy, right? But when you are pulled by a vision of what you want, and when you're pulled by that why, like you guys were talking about earlier, right? And if the why is simple and clear and focused, then all the other things seem to make sense to do, right? So then it makes sense to go in one direction versus the other. It makes sense to take on this client or to deny this client. It makes a lot more sense. So really kind of what it sounds like you guys are all kind of alluding to is like, in many ways we've been pushed by pain to make decisions, but when you have that vision and you're being pulled by that vision, it's a simpler, easier path to take. Not necessarily without, its own trials and tribulations. I think we can all attest to that. But it at least is not like you're getting kicked in the back by the universe. Get in there
Right.
and make it happen. So I love that so much. Okay, so here at MinkLife Motivation, we always talk about keep networking, and we ask it in a different way. So when most people think about networking, they think I'm going to give my information out there, and you get a card, you get a card, you get a card, you get a card. Everybody gets a card. But that is not how networking works. Sometimes it's just about making sure you're surrounding yourself with the people who you actually need in order to support you in your business and in your vision. So the question to the group is, who should we ask for help when we are trying to improve how we execute our vision? And so let's see, let's start with Quentin this time. So who should we surround ourselves with?
So could I, if you don't mind, the first answer I'll give is a bit strange one, but the first thing I would do is yourself, and what I mean by that is journaling. That I find is the number one step that you can take, is just to write about things, because just thinking about it is not as powerful as journaling, because journaling is a bit like having a conversation with yourself. The next step for me is to discuss it with someone that you trust. And then the step after that, if you want to get more help, it could be a business coach, or a change coach. I mean, I should be one of them. I'm not going to say only business coach, but also in my experience, also a brand specialist. I've worked with a brand specialist who did wonders to help me define what my vision was, and it's because that can change over time, and it will change over time and evolve. And so it doesn't only have to be coaches; it can be outside different consultants who would specialize in creating a brand, and which goes along with your vision.
Absolutely. First of all, I love a shameless plug, because if you don't ask, somebody will do it. So yes, get a change coach. I know one. I can hook you up. If you need one. Awesome. So Kris, who would you say is also kind of a part of, I mean, besides a Kris, of course, you need a Kris in your life.
I really appreciate what Quentin had to say, because I think, taking that time to journal it, because I think a lot of times we have the answers deep inside, but we haven't slowed down enough to actually listen and actually process it. So for me, journaling is really powerful, because it's like, oh, yeah. And then actually taking time to go back and look through old journal entries and like, oh my gosh, I've been processing this for a while. I need to actually, take some action or do something. Like, okay, I've already been talking this through, but then, who are those stakeholders? Who are those people that have some say in what's going on with that vision that it's going to impact? It's kind of what we were talking about, joking about getting out there and failing fast, air quoting that, failing fast. Find out what's going on, talk to your clients. I'm starting to ask clients, like, okay, what do you think of this? Would this be something that would be beneficial to you or not? Like nothing like here. I think that's why, like when you go to a food store, they put out taste samples, right? Here, let's see if this is something that anybody wants. Okay, well, no, that nobody wanted that one. Okay, well, note to self, let's not produce that.
Do not order.
Do not order. Yeah. On the second hand, go get this one. This one is really good. When are they coming out with more of that? So,
yeah,
I think those kind of sources are really provide a lot of valuable information to help clarify the vision, because it's like, what do they say? A leader walking somewhere with nobody following is just taking a walk. And it's like, well, if you're just taking a walk, you might want to change the vision. You might be the only one. You're not inspiring anybody to follow your vision. Then we have a problem. You might be getting some good exercise on that walk, but it might be lonely.
Your calves are great. Quads
right?
Awesome. Nobody in line.
Nobody following you, but yeah, you're looking good.
Yeah. Angeline.
Yeah, very interesting. The idea of journaling, I didn't think of that in terms of helping you to define. So very interesting. And Kris, when you talked about sampling and testing, yes, that is really good. So I agree with all that we've said, and we talk about the coach, but let me take it from a different angle. Who you should be careful that you're not going to.
Oh,
so because your vision is lofty, it's a dream, it's a destination that you just put it all together, all coming from this journaling and testing. So be careful that you're not going to share it with persons who are going to shoot it down. What? You crazy? Where is that? That is so far out. When are you ever going to achieve that? So I would caution that, make sure that you're speaking with somebody who is open-minded, forward-thinking, and encourager. And so they can, because the vision is yours, is defined by you, it's your passion. And so you have to be really selective in the persons who you allow into that space to really help to guide you, because they can kill the vision and you don't want that. So you want somebody, and especially people who know you, so they know. I know for me, I benefit from even Monica, just meeting Monica, from persons telling me about strengths that they see in me, because I probably just don't know it. And I met Monica 2 weeks ago, and she, less than 2 weeks ago, and the thing that she just identified in me, just amazing, that I had to say to her, were you just saying that generally? Is that specific to me? And she said yes. So yes, so you need to get persons who are going to understand you and not really impose their own personal thoughts and how they think on your vision.
Yes.
So I would add that to everything else that's just been so great.
That's like super important, super important. So like Quentin said, first step is really kind of getting that vision out of your head and on paper. So incredibly important. And surrounding yourself with people who would be with stakeholders in that, as Kris said, and protecting that vision with people who, surrounding yourself with people who have similar thought processes and are like, oh yeah, this is doable, and protecting it from people who are naysayers, which I like when they call themselves out. It makes it a lot easier for me to realize, oh no, we can't have conversation. It's fine.
I call them balloon poppers.
Yeah, you just made yourself. You put it like on my forehead. I have no vision for myself, so I'm going to pop yours. Perfect, awesome. But what I would say for sure is that on top of all of those people, and all of those people are really great to have around, it is so incredibly important for you to just tell people the vision over and over again, because the person who's really listening is you.
That's good.
Right? The person who needs to hear it as often as possible is actually you. But if you're only telling it to a select few people, and you're only kind of saving it for the good people, it's like, oh, that's the good bottle of wine that we only put out with when great guests come, right? Like, but if you're only sharing that with a select few people, then you won't hear it enough to begin to believe it. And a lot of the times when we have these visions of what I literally have the vision that I'm going to like inspire the next person who's going to like do the world reform, and we're all going to live in utopia. Like that's the vision that I have in life. Right. And yeah, most people are like pie in the sky, but I'm like, but if I tell enough people, I might say it to the one who's actually going to do it. Right. And so if we can just keep saying it as often as possible to as many people who will listen, this is the vision I have. This is the vision I have. And the naysayers will come and you'll be like, oh, okay, you've identified yourself. Cool. We don't have to have that conversation again, but awesome. Glad you gave me your opinion. And you say it enough to some people and they will be the gatekeepers of like, oh, well, you're trying to achieve that. I too have that same vision, but I'm coming at it from a different way. Let's collaborate. And then you really will start to hear it back. And that vision that you wrote down when Quentin was talking about like journaling it, because you're the person who needs to hear it, I was thinking hieroglyphics to your future self. Hieroglyphics to the future you wrote it down. And there are many times when I go back in my old books too, Kris, and I'm like, well, dog, 10 years ago I had this idea. It's now manifesting itself. I was a genius way back then. Why didn't I listen?
What took you so long?
But it is those hieroglyphics to your future self, because that original self, you didn't believe it enough, or didn't say it enough, or didn't have enough life experience to be able to pull it forward. And so I do feel like the more you say it, like the more times I tell people I'm building a global community and we're going to change the world, the more I believe that we're building a global community and we're going to change the world. And you get excited about it and you get to pull that passion forward. And then people will follow you, right? Then you won't be just doing a great leg exercise, but you will actually be
You actually will have people follow you? What the heck?
What? What is happening with that? Okay, so it is time for us to wrap up the show as we are kind of diving in all of this. And so we're going to do our final thoughts. So I'll give you a second. You only get one, okay? One tip There's one thing that you want in order, you want to share. What is the final tip you have for growing your vision? This is your baby, and you're going to give them one thing. They don't do anything else. What would it be? We're going to let our guest go first because we're nice.
Oh no, that saying that you only get one. I've got two, and I've got to decide which one. There's not one that's necessarily more important than the other. In that case, I'll go with the first one I wrote down. The one of the most important lessons that I learned when starting my business is that, like everything, there are so many different ways in which you can create your vision. I mean, especially when it comes to the personal vision. I mean, some people talk about writing it down. Some people talk about writing it down has to be in 3 words, or you should draw your vision, or you should create a vision board. I mean, there's so many different ways you could do it, and it can be overwhelming and wondering, well, which is the right way. And the thing is that there is no right or wrong way of doing it. Anyone that would tell you that there is wrong. The only thing that matters is that you find something that works for you, because not everybody will have a slightly different way of making it work for themselves. And so it's about trying them out and just finding the right one for you. So that would be my opinion.
Love that. That's a great one tip. I appreciate that. Let's go with Kris. What is your?
I agree. This is a tough question, because it's like, people call me, joke that I'm queen of options. So it's like, okay, well, one tip, queen of options. How do we do that? I would say the first tip I would give is just start moving towards it. And the vision I have, it's kind of fun. The vision I have about this vision is that the closer you get to it, the clearer it's going to get as you start making forward motion towards it. I think about something that you can see off in the distance, and you're kind of squinting and you have an idea of what it is. But as you start moving towards it, it's going to become clearer. There's going to be pieces of it that are going to come alive that you didn't even know that were there. And it's kind of that paradox of, well, the greater the clarity you have, the more you can move towards it. Well, sometimes you just need to start moving towards it. You can't wait till you get all the clarity. You just got to start moving.
Yeah, there you go. Angeline?
I would say you're on that path to that vision, and review it periodically. And going back to when I said that you are on this journey, look at the map, look where you are, to get a sense of direction and to see how you're feeling. If you're feeling fulfilled and you're still excited about it. So always just check in periodically as you are on that journey towards that vision, to ensure that you are on the right direction and you are still feeling passionate and joyful about getting there.
Yeah, and I would say my one tip would be, imagine you're already there, right? So think about okay, I have made it, I have arrived. What does it feel like?
Yes.
Then reverse engineer from where you are now to that point, and then throw that whole thing away.
Nice.
Throw the whole thing away.
I'm thinking Peggy's going to throw something at you.
But when you throw the whole thing away, you realize that journey there is not your business. The journey on how you're going to get to that top of the mountain is not your business, because you don't know what bears are going to be there, or what trees or what rivers you're going to have to cross. And you can't actually do the intel for those until you actually are there. You can't solve that problem until you actually get to that. You say, we'll cross that bridge when we get there, right? Mm-hmm. But what we can do is surmise what it might be like to get there and prepare the best we can for that. And then just realize that, okay, the rest of this is going to have to be in the flow and in the now, and as things come up. And you'll be surprised where some of the journey that you thought was going to take one way actually took you on a more scenic, beautiful way. But had we been so rigid to the plan that we had put in place in the first place, we would have missed the off ramp for the most beautiful, scenic, amazing journey that allowed us to have the best growth and meet the most amazing people in all of that. So have that in vision, but then throw all of that, all of that roadmap away in the middle and really just take one step at a time and stay in the present. So that I know that's like a backwards tip, but it really does help. Okay, so it's my favorite time. It's time for announcements. So I'm so a cheerleader, you can totally tell. We are going to share exactly how we can, the best part about us kind of having these conversations and getting to know y'all is figuring out ways that we can keep working with you. And so we'll start with Quentin. And if you would like to share how people can stay connected with you and and what's going on in your world, that would be great.
Sure. Well, the best way is to connect with me on LinkedIn. And so I can see like the link is there below. So just connect with me and let's organize a one-to-one. Having a call is always the best way to get to know each other and just have a conversation like we've been having for the past half hour.
You will, like I said, I hang out with the coolest people. And I get to hang out with Quentin every now and then, and I've never regretted a one-to-one. So you definitely want to hang out with him. And Kris, tell us, how can people connect with you? What do you want them to do next?
So what I would love to see them do is go to impactzonestrategies.com. And at the bottom of that website, you will find an option where you can sign up for a complimentary coaching call, clarity call. And what I love to do is let's clarify some of that vision. Where's some of the places you want to go? Let's talk about it. Let's do a 1-hour strategy session and just kind of get you booted and scooted and moving towards taking those first steps, like I was talking just a couple of minutes ago. Let's just give you the first 2 steps. Every journey starts with 2 steps, 1 step actually. And let's jump on a call and let's get you started so you can start moving towards your vision.
Okay, love that. And Angeline.
Okay, so can be LinkedIn, but my email address is where that pops up and I see that very readily. So my email, angeline.gillings@gmail.com. And I'm going to use the opportunity to just test my business archangel voice. So connect with me as, I am creating a space to use my powerful wind from the wings of my passion to uplift and guide people around the world for success and contentment towards their joyful professional and personal life. So connect with me.
Love that. Very poetic. Very poetic. And if you didn't catch that email address, you can actually catch Angeline in the Minkubator as she hangs out with us, as she is developing the next phases of this Archangel program. So you want to hang out there. But there are so many other ways that we can connect that I would like you to connect with us. First of all, if you want to be on the couch with us, not just watching where you are on your couch, but actually on the stage with us, you can join us here at MinkLife Motivation Live. There's the right one. Good job, Peggy. By going to MinkLife Motivation /live. And there is a guest form there where you can fill it out and be on the show. So you can be like sitting where there it goes, where Quentin is, right there. And then also, we are always interested in people hanging out with us in our community. We are on Zoom 18 hours a day, 6 days a week to support you because we are real people offering real help in real time, and you can't get that anywhere else. So come and hang out with us. You can find more information about joining our community at MinkLifeUniversity.com. You'll see my face there pointing at you saying activate your zone of genius. And if you go all the way down below, you can actually start a 14-day free trial of being a part of our community and hanging out with us in the Minkubator. Me and Angeline. Oh, that way. There she is. It's like a Brady Bunch. It's really fun. Okay. And last but not least, we are looking for speakers, always looking for speakers. So the next global virtual conference are coming up. So we have Sydney and Johannesburg I'm so excited about. We have like 19 out of the 24 speakers. So we are that close to having them all filled. But we also have one for Los Angeles and one for London, lots of speaking opportunities. So if you are a speaker and you want to get the word out about how you can help people live healthy, wealthy, and or fulfilled, then we need you on our stage. So become a dynamic speaker and join us on the next global virtual conference at thenextglobalvirtualconference.com. It's under Kris. See Kris, and then look below her, and there's the little link there. Awesome. And I think that's all the announcements that I have. I want to thank my guests for being here. You guys were amazing. This is a lovely group. Thank you to our community members, Kris and Angeline. And thank you to our special guest, Quentin. We will see you here back at the same station on Wednesday, 9 a.m., where we will be talking about branding with Peggy. So I know you've been seeing her chime in on the bottom. She's co-hosting from the couch today. But next time, she'll be sitting in this seat, guiding you through that conversation. Bam, Peggy. Guiding you through this conversation with another set of community members from the MinkLife Motivation community and a special guest. We will see you next week. Thank you so much. Have a brilliant day, night, evening, wherever you are. Love you. Bye.
Bye.